The HLOOKUP function is used a lot less frequently than the VLOOKUP function is. But because people within your organization will probably choose to create horizontal data from time to time, it can be a very helpful thing to have in your toolbox. In this example, we see two scenarios where we need to horizontally look up, hence the HLOOKUP function, some piece of information. The most common type of HLOOKUP is the exact match HLOOKUP. In this table here on the right-hand side, we can see that there are four very specific regions to talk about. These are arranged horizontally across the page, and as we then find the right one and move down the page to find some other piece of information related to the region, we then need to return that exact match. So if a salesperson works in the Mid-Atlantic region, we need to return Ava Waltrip's information. But there are other situations where having an exact match is not the right answer. In this example here, we have various different sales amounts. And because it's not possible for us to create a table that has a commission rate for every single possible sales amount, we instead have to create ranges. We have to say, if your sales value falls within this range, we'll return this, and if it falls within this other range, we'll return something different. So HLOOKUP can return both exact and close matches without going over. If we click on cell E6, we can see here that we need to return the name of the department head for any individual region. Because the person who created this spreadsheet arranged those regions going horizontally, we go to the Formulas tab at the top of the screen. We go to the Lookup and Reference drop-down menu, and we find HLOOKUP, as in horizontal lookup. We then specify that the value that we're looking for is in cell D6, the Mid-Atlantic region, and we highlight for the table array all the cells that may contain the appropriate region. Now, because we're about to autofill this function down the page, make sure that you press the F4 keyboard shortcut to put dollar signs around J9 through N12. And here in the third argument, we see that it's asking the question, which row contains the department head? So if the region row is the first row, the department head row is the second row. We type in a 2 for the row index number. Now, whether it seems to return the right answer or not is inconsequential here. HLOOKUP, if left to its own devices, will always find the closest match without going over, which in this circumstance would be all wrong. We want to click in the range lookup field here and see that if we want to find an exact match for the region, we should always put in either false, or my preferred method here is to type in the number 0. When we're dealing with Excel functions, putting in a 0 is the equivalent of putting in false. And so we click OK here and autofill down by putting our mouse in the bottom right-hand corner and double-clicking. And you can see that each of the individuals who are the department heads for each of the regions are now on this list. If we go to cell G6, the only difference here is that we don't want to find the exact match, because again, there is no exact match for all of these different sales amounts. So again, we go to the Formulas tab at the top of the screen, we go to the Lookup and Reference drop-down menu and find HLOOKUP. We highlight the total sales value in cell F6 and the table array that is contained in cells J5 through N6. Again, remember to press the F4 key in order to lock that table array reference in as an absolute reference, putting the dollar signs on all the letters and numbers in the reference. Thirdly, we have here the row index number. Again, this is row number 2 in this particular table. And in the range lookup field, we remember here that earlier we put in a 0 when we wanted to find an exact match. Because we don't want to find an exact match now, but rather a close match without going over, we could leave this empty. We could put in the word true, or my preference is to put in the number 1. We click OK here, and again, autofill down, and we now have the appropriate commission rates for each of the different sales amounts that are in this table.